Thank you.
Best of 11. John Higgins to start. Let battle commence. I thought they both played solidly this afternoon. I think probably both feel that they will need to be at their best here. A lot of respect between these two, as we heard in the interviews before the match began. And a lot of past matches to look back on, including, of course, a couple of World Finals.
Foul in the miss. John Higgins.
Well, it had to be quite thin. Yeah. Hitting too much of the red would have taken the cue ball close to the left corner pocket, but not as thin as the shot that was played, where he didn't hit it at all. I think these two, you know, it really is a question of who plays the better on the night, because they're very evenly matched. I wouldn't have a strong opinion who will win either way going into it. And of course, how they played this afternoon didn't really give us any clues. They both got through relatively safely. No doubt that Higgins had, no disrespect to Lee Walker, a tougher game. Don't think it could have been quite there, because he hit the thin edge of that left-hand red, and I don't think he could have done so where it was initially put back.
Maybe a bit forward.
I think Marcel Eckhart is as good a referee as anyone we've got. He'll get it sorted, no doubt.
John, thanks.
Ooh.
Foul in the miss.
So this time he must
John
hit one.
Higgins. Yep.
Yeah, I think sometimes it makes a player potentially a little dangerous on their third attempt, because might be under the impression that he may as well just try and knock one in, because he's not going to play the thin safety again and risk losing the frame.
Just have a look first, please.
So with their minds made up, it can make a player more dangerous. Okay. Not saying he will go for one.
To warn you, I have to call him this time. You're going to lose the play.
Would be that I think that I can't say I've got any records on this, but if it was a 3 strikes and out, I can't imagine there's been one earlier in a match that a frame was lost in that way. He may be thinking about the pot here. Took the wide cue ball around the angles. They didn't want to play it that way, because you're leaving reds potentially near pockets. You know, I think he's all right.
I'm sure they both well remember the last meeting. It was talked about in the studio at the Players' Championship in early 2021, where Higgins outpointed him 546 points to just 7. Quite extraordinary. The whole week he just played unbelievable snooker. Only lost 4 frames in the tournament.
Yeah, I think that was in the middle of a lockdown, and it was a lockdown of his own he inflicted that night, wasn't it? Not only on Mark, but like you say, just about everybody all week. Never looked quite right, did it? He hit it too thick to play the cushion, side cushion first safety. He tried everything he could do to avoid hitting that red. Even put left-hand check side on. He hit it full ball.
So Mark Selby, who was in trouble just a minute or so ago, now has a good scoring chance here.
1.
Breaks of 82 and 88 this afternoon against Lee Walker. These two players are two of just 4 players who've played in every single Champion of Champions since we began in 2013. The other two are Neil Robertson and Judd Trump. Ronnie O'Sullivan skipped a year of his own volition.
6.
So just shows you how consistent they've been over the last decade, winning tournaments and in some cases being high enough in the rankings to get in. That's how Selby got in this year. Thing is, though, some of those years he qualified 3, 4, 5 times, didn't he? Winning various tournaments when he was really in the peak of his powers, winning a lot of tournaments in China in particular.
$13. 14.
Little nudge on the red. On the left of the two that were close together.
21.
Opens everything up.
$22.
Certainly the reds could hardly be placed any better.
Yeah, and I think it's also important psychologically how this opening came about. John Higgins
29.
made a safety error. So Selby wants to plant that seed. You know, if I make these mistakes, I'm going to be thoroughly punished. And even though I think a lot of us expect these matches to be close, they're not always, of course. The last one wasn't. It was 6-0 to Higgins. Either player is capable of producing the sort of snooker that can blow anyone away.
I think that's true, but you have to say that if any one of these two is to win very easily tonight, they'll have played well to do so. You know, somewhere near the top of their game. This was the case last time, as you say.
30.
Quite as played,
37.
but it's fine. Carrying over the ball, but with nothing much to do with the cue ball here.
38. $45. 46.
Nicely played. He could have played the little cannon on that red, but he thought just
50.
hold the cue ball to where he has perfectly executed.
54. 61. 62.
'Well, because of the 8 points he gave away at the
69.
start of the frame, he'll need high value colour with the next red.
Yeah. $70.
I guess pink offers better position, although it's more difficult, as you can see. Rolling the blue in. We make the difference 67 with exactly that on. But you would fancy him to pot a mid-range red after this next colour.
Yes,
75.
so as you see, this is the ball that should secure the frame. Just a bit concerned about that green.
Yes, it's a missable shot now, isn't it? First time in the break you feel he could miss one. But no such problem, went straight in the middle.
Yes, a very sharp start by Selby, and as I say, it's also significant how the chance came along. Higgins made that one error, and it's cost him.
Yeah, it's kind of like how he likes to play, Dave, isn't it? Just to force the error in safety and then
83.
pounce.
Well, exactly. I think with Selby, you feel every time you come to the table, it's sort of high stakes. Because he's such a tough competitor in all areas, including break building, as we're seeing here.
$89. 90. 97. 98.
So this match already delivering in frame one. Mark Selby starts the evening with a century.
Yeah, excellent break. He actually didn't really go into the brown. He played all around the
105.
table. This now is most difficult shot of the lot. Not that it matters particularly at this stage. Oh, brilliant.
106.
Well, what a start.
There's no high break prize. Mark Selby will tell you that, because of course he made the maximum that year, and reminded everyone for days afterwards that he hadn't got any money for it. But in terms of how he's feeling here, what a break this has been, what a start,
113.
and what a message he's sending to John Higgins that he's going to have to be at his best to stop him here.
115. $108. $122.
To think at 12 minutes ago he had to hit a red third time to avoid losing the frame. The next shot Higgins played, he left a chance. Mark Selby
127.
has grabbed it with both hands.
$133.
So the black for a total clearance of 140 to launch the evening. Terrific stuff from Mark Selby. Really classy contribution that. Laying down the marker for the rest of the evening. Best of 11. This is our table for two this evening. The two being Mark Selby and John Higgins, although it was mainly Mark Selby in that first frame. A magnificent 140 total clearance.
Blankety second frame. Mark Selby to break.
This is for a place in the semis at the weekend. Mark Selby's been twice a semi-finalist in this tournament. Of course, John Higgins is a previous winner.
Strange old setup, wasn't it, in frame one with those couple of misses, and then Selby didn't want to play the attacking safety shot that he played. Because he opened the reds up, but in doing so, he really created the problem for Higgins. That's all that. That was the build-up to the magnificent break of 140. That'll do him. Didn't mean it. Must be feeling confident after that break. What a way to start a match.
Touching ball with this red.
No touching ball. I mean, if in an ideal world, he'd love to get the cue ball in behind that brown ball, but I'm not sure there's any route that takes it over that way. So I suppose if there is one, he's the man to find it. Maybe if he could go across the table twice, he could end up behind the brown ball, but it would take a good judge of pace and line. Great effort, isn't it? Not a snooker, though.
It's sort of drawn like a magnet, isn't it, that cue ball to the back cushion. Nicely judged.
Yeah, I think it's troublesome, Dave, because the containing shot, or the dump shot as we might call it, in the cue ball at the black end of the table, is not quite so easy to play with two reds at this end of the table also. It might still be possible. Got to make sure you get the cue ball just about where it is now. Is that a mistake? Or a slight mistake even? So there'll be just enough of a gap to get through to this red to pot it. But it's not easy, goodness. Beautiful. That is lovely turn. Especially given that he's had no table time at all.
One.
Hit it very sweetly. It wasn't the most natural angle to come back to bulk. A little straight.
Higgins, of course, finished off against the Fai with a century. There was no sort of stuttering over the line in that one. He got the job done in that last frame.
Four.
Of course, he made the running in the final last year against Trump. Was 3-0 up, lost 10-4. But it was an easier defeat to take than obviously some of the closer ones that he suffered during the season.
Eleven. Well.
Yes, he didn't want to be straight on this red.
19.
Just a little bit of an angle. Now, does he just stun it in off one cushion, or does he run it around off two? Yeah, I think he initially wanted to play the stun. Now he's playing around off two with a top spin.
20.
I think that was a more natural shot than the previous he looked at. Now, I don't think he hit the red he meant to there.
27.
Cue just veered off a little bit from the original plan. He hit the left-hand red here. I think he meant to avoid that and get into the bunch. He is still on one.
28.
Well, these are two of the greatest players, certainly as far as their match players are concerned in the world. I have to say the table looks to be playing delightfully. They're just barely having to touch the ball to get the reactions. He's enjoying it from that frame one. But as far as consummate match play, well, this is as good as it gets, these two up against each other.
Yeah, we've seen it in plenty of tournaments, not least the World Championship. They first played each other there 2005. At that
34.
point, Higgins was very much the top player. Selby was coming through. Higgins won, but a year later, in the first round, Selby beat him, and a year after that, they played each other in the final. So that just illustrated in that little spell how much Mark Selby had improved, because ever since he's been a top player himself.
He's landed in a very good area there. Choice of two reds.
$42.
Well, he didn't have a very wide angle there, but he still managed to execute the shot perfectly to
49.
land in behind the next red. Better shot than it looked.
50.
Well, it was a calculated risk, thinking that he'd be on something, but he's on nothing.
57.
And he looks to the heavens as if to say, well, on a different day to be on a red, and I've got the frame one from here. Cue just got buried in the top end of the bunch.
Well, there's that match play you mentioned, pushing the red safe with a 57-point lead.
Yeah, I mean, people might think, well, what does he mean by match play? Well, what I mean is these two will play the right shots all the time. They've got as good a safety game as anybody in the world, and as we're seeing, their scoring is there when the chance comes, so it's everything you need in a player. Well, that's the mistake. Now, is he going to be punished for it? Caught it much too thin. But Higgins without a simple starter here. He's always got to play this full-bloodedly, I think.
One.
Yeah, and that's exactly how he did play. So he didn't win it in the first visit, but you would think he's got a good chance of doing it the second time of asking.
Eight.
Well, I'm afraid he's got to do a little bit more here. Didn't want to be playing this red down the cushion. I'm not sure what else he can pot. So the frame is still alive. Certainly if he doesn't go for the red down the cushion. There's a glimmer of hope for Selby.
John Higgins, 8.
Well, it's got to go down as a reprieve, because when Higgins crunched the red in off the bad safety from Selby, you think that's surely one each, but not yet.
No easy safety shot here, though. Yes, he's got access to all of the reds in the middle of the table. But to get it safe, it's not so easy. Just might have a go at this left-hand red, leaving the cue ball over in the area where it is now. Certainly playing it anyway. Difficult pot, that.
So, Selby with a chance here. Higgins put the red safe on the right side cushion earlier. Selby inadvertently nudged the brown actually onto the baulk cushion, but the frame should have been over by now.
One.
Looking at the scores, he could do with as high a value colour as he can muster here, because the points might come into play later on. He'd have to take high value colours with the remaining reds. I think the yellow is the one he wants to play, but just leaves him a little bit short on points. Taking the green gives him just a tiny bit more breathing space. This would be a good lot, let's just say that. He's a long way off it yet. Winning the frame here is going to be really difficult.
Five. 11. $12. $19. Quickly, please.
Just opted to walk out at that point. I thought it was getting quite exciting, personally.
$20.
Well, this is where things get a little more awkward. Of course, John Higgins had this red down the cushion. He refused it earlier in the frame. Cue ball was further away from the red than it is now, of course.
27. $28.
Now, if he's fairly straight on this, the double has to be the way to get the red potted. There's no option to nudge the red into play here. Cue ball's got to move. I don't think... Well, I'm pretty sure he hasn't gone far enough, so the double is not happening
35.
on this shot. What's happening is he's going to have to play a good safety.
Mark Selby, 35.
Well, he's back in contention in a frame that he looked certain to lose a couple of times.
Ideally, he'd love to get the brown in play here, but can't risk doing so and leaving the red on. First, I wondered if there was a gap through to the red. Well, there is a gap, but what can you do with it? Might be safer to play off the side cushion. He's realised that he can get through to it, but not to see an edge. Doesn't want that one back, that's okay. So he's almost forcing John Higgins to try and get the brown in play, which obviously that's his saviour where it is with his lead of 30 points. John will be reluctant to move it.
We saw the great total clearance in frame one. This is the other side of the coin, the tactical battle. Has acknowledged that last shot from Higgins a number of times now, wrapping his knuckle on the rail of the table.
Looking at the cut to left middle. Certainly give it some consideration anyway. Good shot. He didn't have complete control over it. Certainly the brood going safe handy, but just to knock the pink in here, I don't suppose that matters now. It's a frame that just might have slipped away from John, but perhaps not at this stage.
Well, he was certainly made to earn it. That keyboard just runs on a bit.
7.
3 snookers required. And Mark Selby nods his head because getting 3 against John Higgins is a tall order, clearly. So Higgins will lead. Bolton, our first day here at the Kazoo Champion of Champions. These are all the winners we've seen over the course of the last year. And John Higgins and Mark Selby already involved in some duel here, one each, playing for a place in the semi-finals.
Not a good break though from John. Red has really travelled a long way up the table.
Well, he's got away with it, hasn't he? He sat down looking a bit concerned, actually, Higgins. But on this occasion, not punished. High standard so far. There's the pot success, 98% to Selby, 95% to Higgins. Born on this day in 1929, Eddie Charlton, a name a lot of older snooker fans will remember from Australia. I think this is the sort of match he would have approved of. Some of the skills on show.
Certainly a mistake, but the red to start things is not going to be easy. Bit of a test of his cueing, this one. Playing with a degree of pace, not loads, but some.
One.
Oh, run through, that's a nice shot.
Six.
Oh, that's a rarity. That was an easy one. Well, an evening so far where hardly anything's been missed. This was one, well, as you see, a bit unnerved him seeing that John Higgins staring towards him. Not actual John Higgins, but the image of him. He's been eyeballed, isn't he? Let's be honest about it.
One of these frames where the reds are starting to head towards the bulk end. And maybe that they spread far and wide for an eventual big break.
Thing is here, if John hasn't got a shot, an attacking shot, he can always drop into the reds. Not the sort of shot you'd want to play. We've kind of done that, albeit by pushing one onto a cushion. Not ruling out this ends in a re-rack, but it's too early, I guess, to say at this stage. They've always got the backup shot to drop into the bunch. Obviously no safety shot available to go down to the bulk end. It's like the default setting, just drop into them perhaps. Might just push the red out and take the cue ball in.
Touching ball.
Well,
Yeah,
they've
re-rack.
agreed to the re-rack. It
Nice,
was
nice.
heading nowhere. So, wipe that 8 minutes from your memories. It didn't happen. We're going to start frame 3 again. Yes, I mean, they're both such wily characters, aren't they? It's kind of couldn't really see either making a massive error there.
The other thing is that Mark Selby's pot success is 46 out of 46, 100%. So the easy miss is erased from the memory.
Yeah, obviously there's only 6 points on the board, so it's not like either player was significantly in front. So once again, frame 3 gets underway, and Higgins will want to play a better break-off shot than he did the first time, because that could have been very costly. Did leave that red to the right middle, which Selby didn't pot.
He was desperate for the cue ball to slip past the brown ball, not leave this red in the position where it is, and the Selby bridge handle beyond the bed of the table. It's a lot easier than when you're playing from a cushion.
One.
That is a lovely shot, because you have to zip the cue ball through the gap between the two reds on the black. You got the cue ball to really fizz there. Seeing this again, there you see it. Takes a lot of spin at that sort of distance to play that shot. This time, the chosen red to land on is one that he's not managed to get on. So, it had promise, but I think he'll be playing safe here. Up behind the yellow and brown ball.
Max out 8.
Another little tap, this time from Higgins, just appreciating that last shot. And also Selby just accepting that he wasn't on one, looking to put Higgins in trouble. I think the thing with these two, and we talked about match play earlier, they both know what the right shot is. Now, not always going to execute it correctly, because snooker's a difficult game, but they always know what they should be doing, playing the percentages.
Well, that's right, isn't it? I mean, a lot of thought goes into every shot. I mean, you see players of a lesser standard who just play safe and just playing cue down the other end of the table. They're not main tour players. Every shot has got to be taken seriously, whether it's a pot, safety shot, something tactical. Because at this level, you're looking for any kind of an edge you can get. Even here, this safety shot. Many an amateur player would have just already played it up the table now. He's looking at the most difficult place to land the cue ball that he can find. I think initially somewhere where he was standing in behind the green would be an ideal spot, but on the cushion. Basically somewhere in there.
One.
Oh, that is absolutely sensational pot. I mean, it's what he played. Goodness me. You won't see a better one. You might see one as good, but not better. And the next shot is going to be the complete contrast.
Brando.
Tickle in behind the brown.
Max Selby, 1.
Well, this was some pot, Dave, that he's knocked in here, wasn't it? Goodness me.
It certainly was. First, I think, authentic hot shot contender we've seen. He's given him full control of the table now because he's laid the snooker. Reds fanned into the open, a bit of trouble for Higgins. He's walked the full perimeter of the table, having a look from every angle. And he doesn't like what he sees.
It looks as if he's trying to sneak the cue ball in between a couple of reds here. I think he played for that gap, but of course what he's done is no good at all. So that brilliant pot has created this chance.
One.
Whichever angle you look at it, it still looks a brilliant pot, doesn't it?
8. 9. $16. 17. 24. 25.
Well, the red the wonder red he knocked in, of course, was a great pot in isolation, but it's what it's led to. He laid the snooker, he set the trap, got the chance. Got the reds open, and he's ploughing on here, 41 to the good.
32. Mark Selby.
Well, he took his eye off that, and I think he just assumed it was in, looking at the next shot, and to his horror, the red was still on the table. Let's have a look. Well, I think it didn't roll off or anything. Mark just took his eye off the ball, literally, there.
One.
That'll annoy him because it was just an opening that he never expected to get. I mean, he knew he'd hit the pink, but he couldn't really be sure of anything else after that.
Blue ball.
Deciding that he's not going to take a risk on the black, which is difficult. Trying to get in behind yellow and brown here. Well, over the other side of the table. Didn't mean to play that. Thought he was playing safe on the other side. He didn't mean to pot the ball.
6. 10 against 6.
So the slight lapse from Mark Selby with that red to the middle hasn't really cost him too badly. He's got a slightly ticklish safety shot to play here. where the left-hand red is in play, the extreme left-hand red on the left cushion. As far as a safety shot back to bolt, that's kind of in play. If you don't hit it right, you'll crash into that red. That's exactly what he's done. That's quite a bad mistake. I thought he would avoid it, but we knew it was a possibility to hit that one.
Yeah, so suddenly that red coming into open play, table more inviting for John Higgins, only 35 behind.
Yes, Dave, it's really inviting. Look at the way the balls are spread now.
One.
And I've always felt with Higgins, there's never been a better player at suddenly coming alive in a frame where he hasn't done anything. Suddenly sensing a chance. We've seen him make so many clearances. Saw one recently in Belfast actually against Jackson Page when he looked dead and buried in the frame. Even if he's been struggling up to that point, he just seems to sense his chance and take it invariably.
Yes, it's true. It's almost like you can put all the noise of what's happened in the frame previously behind him by just clearing up until there's no balls left on the table. Would certainly put a bit of doubt in Mark Selby's mind. He hasn't made many mistakes, but
16.
as soon as he missed that red to the middle, which was, let's be honest, straightforward, played a couple of not great shots since.
17. $24. $25. $32. $33.
Well,
38.
it's come slightly in between here. He's on the road to the middle, yes, but not as straight as he would like. The cue ball kind of heading in general direction of the black ball over that side anyway. He's got to control the cue ball and make sure of the pot here. Well, that's
39.
very well done.
$46.
So this, you feel, is the crunch ball in this break, perhaps in the frame. And you can see he's not got much of an angle on it. That's all he could
47.
do. Thought perhaps if he was going to play it like that, he might have stunned it. Just to make the cue ball easier to drop in behind the black, perhaps. But as you saw, the angle was just non-existent to get on a colour. It's a horrible shot. The pot or the snooker behind the black. It's not a nice shot to have to play. It's right in between about 4 different options here. Can't believe he's finished where he has. Trying to get any sort of a cover. He's used the black as well. That's clever stuff, that. Still second prize from winning the frame at the Visual. A good shot to finish, I suppose. The eyes have it.
Bit spooky, isn't it? Then again, it is Halloween, I suppose.
It's the slight chance of going in off this into the top left pocket when he hits it off the cushion. Not unnatural, but it could happen. Not the way he played it, though. What sort of shot has he got at the red? Any mistake from Higgins there? I think he could get to the potting angle, but not a nice shot to have to play. Might refuse it. I think there's one big safety shot here from either player which will get their opponent in all kinds of trouble and effectively will win the frame. And the way that the colours are in the bulk end suggests snooker is very gettable here. Just overhit slightly. That was a good chance for one. effectively playing the safety shot here, I've got a feeling. Well, now here is something for Selby to go at. It's not a natural shot to nothing angle. It's a little bit sort of a thickish contact for that. Yeah, that's why he didn't end up playing it. It wasn't a natural to play safe from. Real battle this frame. We're still no closer to finding out who's going to win it.
Now we've been nearly 7 minutes on the red itself. So much respect they have for one another, wariness of one another's abilities.
Played it well. Made a little close to the side cushion. Means the snooker's a bit easy to hit and not quite so easy to stick the red. But altogether, it's still a problem for John.
Foul, Nimbus. Mark Selby. Yep.
Very close, but back we go. Also Leckart from Germany in charge here. Of course, his concentration has to be 100% as well in a match like this with these quite long drawn out exchanges.
Yeah, that's nice.
Good shot. It must have got very close to hitting the blue there on the way through. Oh, Sir Leckart. He's sort of very eager to watch that ball in its trajectory. There it is. Couldn't have missed by far.
Well, no sign of any resolution yet to this frame. 28.5 minutes, but of course we had 8 minutes before that, before we had a re-rack. Doesn't count in the official frame time.
Good defensive shot, but again, you'd expect John to make things difficult for Mark here. And the shot he plays now.
Pretty relentless stuff, isn't it? 12 minutes now since the last pot. Feels like a big moment for Selby, though. He's got to obviously not leave the red on and spot a bother here.
Problem is, of course, if he was to miss the red and the free ball looks a certainty, at least if he swerves into the red, at least he stops that happening. I would expect him to hit it, don't get me wrong, but if he was to miss the red top side, it's a free ball all day long. Oh, well, that's one way not to leave a free ball, but also another way to lose a frame.
John Higgins fine.
What a chance for John.
Yeah, it looked like trouble for the reasons we explained, and Higgins now hoping to capitalise. 13 in front as he comes to the table.
Just got to pop this and get that cue ball away from the bolt cushion, out into the somewhere around the D or just beyond it, and then surely the frame is done.
One.
Should be okay. Doesn't need very much from here. And the black, yellow and green should be enough to clinch the frame.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a proper battle in this frame, tactical duel. It's been won by John Higgins. He forced the opening, and he's a couple of balls away here from going 2-1 in front. Feels like a long time since Mark Selby made that 140 in frame one.
Yeah, and also a little while since he missed that red to the right middle in this frame, which he thought was in. He was walking around for his next shot. And that ultimately is the reason all this has happened. He was looking as if he would go on and make a few from there. I want to say how many, but been on the back foot in the frame ever since
17.
that mistake.
Yes, a tale of two reds for Selby. The one already knocked in, and then a much easier one that he missed to the middle. That's not going to make any difference. The damage has been done here.
17 and
John Higgins wins the 34-minute third frame to take the lead. John Higgins is edged in front, 2-1.
The
That 34-minute third frame went his way. This is the last frame before the interval. Remember, it's best of 11, first to 6 to be the first man into the semi-finals of the Champion of Champions.
Yes, because we had a best of 7. It kind of jumps up a lot to the evening session, doesn't it? That best of 7 is one you want to get out of the way to settle into this longer match. A lot of snooker in this match, clearly still to be played. It's almost, you think about it, you know there's going to be good snooker, but it's almost defined by the odd mistake more so than the good stuff.
Yeah, Selby's pot success is 98%, but that only tells a small part of the story, because in that last frame it was all about the tactical play, and in the end Higgins got him in a nasty spot and forced the opening, which won him the frame.
Just trying to bury the cue ball here, I think. In the bottom of the bunch, take no risks.
Yeah, he just seemed to have this game right from the start, Higgins, when he turned pro. Some players, Neil Robertson will be an example, they learn it as they go along and they change their game. We saw the great feature with Neil and Joe Perry earlier where he was talking about that. But Higgins, who grew up as a Steve Davis fan and indeed had some mentoring at one point from Alan McManus, he had it all really when he turned pro. All the knowledge and all the tablecraft.
Now, looking at a 3-ball plant, it did appear it was quite favourable looking in the way that the first red hits the second one. Yeah, it was dead set. Sometimes you look at them and you think that it just looks on. I know the balls weren't in line, but the way that the top red was going on to the other two, it looked spot on to me. With the green and the brown now in play, a chance.
Five. Six.
It's not an ideal shot that he's played. He's a little straight on the green. I almost wanted the cue ball to the baulk cushion there to leave an angle naturally for the green down for a red. Have to use a bit of force on this now from there.
Nine. Ten.
Well, he chance his arm here. The reds are reasonably scattered already, but he could get the cue ball into the middle of those and open them some more.
Fifteen.
I think the red below the one he's going to play, the one that's on the black spot, is the one he's playing, but the one below it, got to avoid here if possible. Yeah, the concentration was divided between the pot,
John Higgins, 15.
position, and the other red. It's a bit tricky, this shot, to get out onto a colour.
And there you see Mark Selby, half an hour since he's polled a ball. But of course, he didn't see many pots during that period. He was in all sorts of trouble. Now he's back in and he's relieved, of course. Higgins seemed to be at the table a long time for those 15. It was a lot of low-value colours.
Six. Seven.
That's a well-played shot to get on that red.
12.
Put a bit of an extension on the cue so that you can reach this. Still a bit of a struggle.
Thirteen. Nineteen. Twenty.
Well, maybe redoubling his efforts in this frame, having, of course, missed that red unexpectedly to the right middle in the last when he was going nicely. That really did turn the frame against him.
26.
That's a little short of pace, so he can get on the left-hand red of the little bunch of 6 down the centre. That's what he's playing on, but it's the only red he can get on from the angle he has on the pink. Has he gone far enough? Is there enough of the red available to pot? I think so, but it's a tight one. Of course, he could hit a red on the way through, which of course would throw it offline completely. I reckon he can just make this, but it is close. I'll be using a trace of left-hand side on it as well to straighten it. Yeah, that's a better shot, I feel, than it looked. I don't know that he felt that he could get there directly without a bit of help. Tough break because the black's not been in the frame and it's not likely to be in the frame anytime soon where it is. Which red comes next is the problem. It's not easy to see how he can land on one because he's on the pink quite straight. I think there is a red which goes, but it's hard to land on it. Good effort, this. Very good. That's an excellent shot. Imagine one red out and being on the other one.
47.
I think the bottom red of the 3 will pop to the right corner from the left side. Bit heavy-handed for once.
51.
Still goes from there, but he's hitting the other 2 reds. It's a sort of shot. Should he miss it, he could be giving the frame back to John Higgins somewhat. Keeble's meant to be further up the table, straighter on this red. Not nice, this.
Well, he's had a look, he doesn't like it, so again it's the percentage shot that he's going to play. 36 in front. Wait for a better chance.
Mark Selby, 51.
Very solid 51.
Yeah, but John is bringing the only safe red into play here. Not over this frame at all. will be desperate to get some more balls close to cushions. You know, you can see that the clearance could be made from where the balls are from John. It's kind of a dangerous lead on a table like this. Well, it's not good news for John, but this is not a particularly inviting shot to have to play. It goes in, it probably wins him the frame, but he's not hanging over the pocket by any means. You could sense that he didn't really want to play it, but he'd be pleased with the result. The black going safe. This could have gone a lot worse there for Mark.
Foul.
Well, it's almost better off in there than hitting the jaw and coming back down towards the reds. When at some speed at a pretty acute angle. Couldn't do that again if you tried. I mean, put him back in, which does slightly surprise me. I mean, John would love to get that red away from the black here. I wonder if he's got any way of doing so and playing safe. I think the double kiss might stop him. If he could just move that red away from the black, then the frame becomes open again. A little surprised that Mark put him back in there. As he opened the door slightly in doing so. Obviously thinks that the shot is not easy on that red. I suppose if Mark doesn't think there's an easy safety shot on, then there probably isn't one. It was a double kiss, and that's what he thought might happen.
Well, he's just lining up for that. Spotted something on the cue ball. Big shot this in the frame. He's already 40 in front. Great chance for 2-2. And we're only really getting started. This is only frame 4 of a possible 11. There have been a couple of one-sided matches between them. The last one was, but I think we all expected what we've got tonight, which is a real tussle between these two great champions, each full-time world champion.
8.
Higgins needs a couple of snookers, the pink to make absolutely sure. So we're going to be all square, and this match is going to take some winning.
14.
Mark Selby started the night with that 140 total clearance. Since then, there's been a lot of high-quality safety.
15.
You'd be relieved, though, to win this frame after what happened in the last.
Mark Selby, 15.
Is surely that. John Higgins has seen enough. So these two great champions locked together as they head up to the interval with a place.
Bolton, please welcome back into the arena the Wizard of Whistle, John Higgins, and his opponent, the Jester from Leicester, Mark Selby.
Now, please, the fifth frame, John against the break.
Given that it's Halloween, given the progression of the match so far, we could be going well into the witching hour with this one, if it goes all the way in terms of the scoreline being 6-5 at the end. And I think with the competitiveness we've seen thus far from both of them, the fact that the first 4 frames have been shared, who's to say it won't be 6-5?
Definitely one for the purists, those 4 frames. Really tough match play from 2 of the best in the business. No quarter given between them. Really hard fought. Apart from that 140. It's been a bit scrappy from the 2, you'd have to say, but really excellent safety from both players. That's what you'd expect.
I think the best sporting analogy would be that it's akin to watching 2 high-class football teams who have very similar styles.
disturbance in the crowd, but okay to resume. Yeah, I think both trying to
I know
master
it's
each
not your
other,
fault,
and
but
I think
would you
that's
like
the.
to go outside for a second, please?
I think that's the
Sorry.
the intriguing part of this match. Is that who's gonna
Thank you. That's all right. Thank you.
out sort of box clever the other.
Well, we're hearing someone was suffering from hiccups in the crowd. With pot success rates of 96 and 94% respectively. Not many hiccups on the table though, Ken.
No, Phil. I like it. Now, just eyeing up, maybe attempting this red, but he can't see the red full on, so he's got to come off this side cushion. But as you can see, the red is quite a distance away from the pocket here. Not guaranteed to go into the pocket if he does make connection with it. Now, has he left the red here? Possible red into the right centre. Not quite sure. Is he going to have a look at it? The red just above the black. It does go into the right centre pocket, and he was just having a look to see what he'd leave. But once again, there's the red. Doesn't want to take it on, doesn't want to chance it. Keeping it really tight. I think if you asked either player, Phil, about who's the toughest safety player that they'd have to play on the circuit, they'd probably both say each other, you know. And I think it'll be, you know, that's a challenge in itself, and I would like to see who can, as I said, outfox the other in that department. It's not going to be easy.
Previous stats pointed to this kind of match. In all of their previous frames in their head-to-heads, before tonight it was 126
Quietly,
frames
please.
for Mark Selby, 129 for John Higgins. In quarterfinals, they've played 8 times before, 4 wins each.
Even shots like that, I mean, it may look very simple, but certainly not. I think the person who is going to be the more adventurous of the two go for the shots, not try and get involved in this safety battle. I think my gut feeling is that's the player that's going to come out on top.
I believe the structure of the day, the way it's gone, should suit Mark Selby. He had that relatively comfortable 4-0 win, whereas John Higgins, who was on second this afternoon, only beat Hossein Vafai 4-2. Of course, in addition to that, Higgins is the older of the two players by 8 years. So if stamina is an issue as the evening progresses, and given Selby's vast reserve of patience, I think that will undoubtedly serve him well.
Yeah, could become a factor. Well, of course, we're seeing a new lean John Higgins, which will, of course, help his stamina quite considerably. once again. Already almost 7 minutes into this frame and not a ball potted. Big target behind yellow and brown here. Just didn't get enough spin off that left hand side cushion just to try and get over behind the yellow and brown, but still pretty good. I think you mentioned a very key point there, Phil. I mean, for all their talent, break building, scoring, and long pot success over the years, they've both been blessed with wonderful patience as well, haven't they? Great temperament, both players. Good pot. How's your look?
1.
This green is not easy, but he does have a slight angle to
Rebound.
pot it and try and get on that red. Maybe the one above the black here. Yeah, it wasn't easy. Has he got on the red?
John
I
Higgins.
think he has. So a chance for Mark Selby.
One.
It wasn't easy, that green. What was one that you would have expected John Higgins to knock in?
8. No.
It wasn't an eye-watering performance against Lee Walker. He
16.
made breaks of 82, 47 and 88. Looked pretty efficient. But I think generally, Ken,
17.
he's coming slowly back into the form we know he's capable of. Reached the quarterfinals of both the British Open and the Northern Ireland Open.
24.
And it's only a matter of time for me that he lifts another trophy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he has been
25.
shown some signs of the old Mark Selby. He's had his few problems. He's well documented and being not afraid to speak out about his health problems, mental health problems away from the game.
32.
That's curtailed him, of course, but it looks to be in good form. Seems a lot happier around the circuit, around the tournaments, and
33.
that's a good sign for him. And he's certainly playing a lot better. He's a lot sharper, isn't he, Phil? He's scoring a lot. He looks a lot more confident.
And when he's in the balls, like he is now, he's definitely playing a little quicker.
Yeah, I think there was a period where he was second guessing himself and looking at a lot of different shots. Not
40.
right now. Once he gets into a rhythm, sees the shot, plays it, no hesitation.
41. 48.
Remember, he's the only player in the field who's not here because he has won a tournament in the qualifying period. He's in off the rankings.
49.
15 winners over the last 12 months. And Selby completes the field, quite rightly, because of his lofty position on the world list.
Wonderfully cued, that beautiful positional shot right through the cue ball. Plenty of
56.
zip on it. Bring it out for this red. Just left of the pink.
57.
It's not. He hasn't knocked any more reds out, so may have to play into the pack here. Black will put him 63 points in the lead. Oh, too much. Too much arc on the cue ball. End of break.
$64.
Still 75 left on the table, so plenty of points to play with for John Higgins. Should he get another chance? Here's look at the cue ball here. Amazing how much spin. Missed the pack of 5 reds there.
Mark Selby, 64.
Yeah, nice break from Mark Selby, but not over the line just yet. Trying to keep it tight, keep that red on the right hand side cushion, but John Higgins be quick to take it off. Just get it out into the open. He's going to need that red should he get a chance. Maybe we're taking this red on here. You could only leave the red that he was taking on. I think he has done. But it was worth taking on because if it goes in, he just needs the black to leave John needing the snooker. However, that double kiss makes this red cuttable. Needs an angle on blue or yellow.
1.
He's too straight on the blue, I think. Unless he can screw it and just miss that left middle pocket. No angle at all, so he's just taking the points because he needs them.
6.
Now, once again, that brown and yellow is a big target. When you see it, 57 behind, 67 still remaining. If he can get the cue ball, brown and yellow here, and cover all the reds, could put his opponent spot of butter, but that's not good.
6.
Selby will be cautious here, mindful of the fact that apart from the green on that ball cushion, the table is perfect for the player chasing. And if Higgins gets in, he doesn't have to concentrate solely on pinks and blacks. He does have some scoring leeway.
Yeah, he's a bit reluctant here. They're playing the safety shot because it could knock the red over. these corner pockets. He's looking at trying to knock this red onto the black. Maybe try and get the black safe, but and also try and maybe possibility of the red going towards this corner pocket. But he's left the chance. Okay, it's not straightforward, but it is a chance for John Higgins to knock this red in.
Had the option to play that as a shot to nothing by taking the cue ball into bulk, because he could afford to knock in a bulk colour. The only problem is the red didn't go, and neither did it come away from the pocket.
One.
It's Halloween, and this is going to be a fiendish snooker.
Max 7. 1.
Has to make contact, and what a horrible, horrible escape this is.
Two cushions try and nestle onto the red just to the left of the pink.
Foul.
It's no good. He
Max
might
up.
concede here. Just had a quick look. Was it a free ball? It's no free ball, so well, he's going to play on John Higgins. Yeah, 62. In front, 59 remaining. It's only one 4-point snooker. So. But this looks a good cue ball here. Ooh, just hit the brown. Thought it was going to sneak right by it.
Two hours match time and counting. But of course, these two can invest everything into this evening, because they don't come back the winner until Friday. Plenty of time to recuperate.
He's having a look at the scoreboard. He needs 4 reds, 4 blacks, and one 4-point snooker. So if he takes this red on into the left centre, he'll only be able to pot. The highest available would be the blue. The pink doesn't pot into the left corner, so which means then he'd need an extra snooker. So that's what's going through his mind at the moment. He's got it.
1.
Yeah, the highest available was the blue. So now it's 2 4-point snookers, or possibly 1 snooker and maybe the free ball. And that brown and yellow is very inviting. Try and get snookers behind, so one of the best in the world of winning frames when snooker's required. But he's also playing against a player who's one of the best in the world escaping from snookers. So this would be an interesting battle, this one in itself.
Seven.
That was a lovely shot. Judging it perfectly off 2 cushions. Now he put this red and black, but you would feel he'd keep the last red on the table. Because if he does get a chance of a free ball, then 1 snooker would be only required. So now pot the black. Judging where he wants to lead the cue ball, just we can knock the red possibly in and out of ball and get that cue ball somewhere in the proximity of that yellow and brown.
$22. John Higgins, 22.
Yeah, you saw his head drop there, Phil. He'd be very, very disappointed. That was a big target for someone of John's class to miss.
And he knows against Mark Selby you don't get repeated chances.
Red up and down the table, cue ball over again towards that brown and yellow. Has he got the pace? Oh, just a little bit short. In this position, some players tend to get flustered, may be impatient. Not Selby. He will grind it out until the cows come home. Have a look where the red's finished now. Has he got the snooker? He has, you know. And is it an easy swerve? It's Actually, the swerve is a lot more difficult when you have to swerve around the ball that's halfway down the table. If the pink is a lot closer to the cue ball, it's a little bit easier, but it's going to get the right amount and judge this perfectly. Oh, well played. Good shot.
And that surely is that.
One in the frame. Marcel.
Yes, Higgins concedes immediately. The cornerstone of Selby's success in that frame was a break of 64. Then it became tactical. He's back in front at 3-2.